Hey, I hope all of you are doing well. Welcome. Uh, I just wanted to share some thoughts around my book, um, In the Company of Supreme Consciousness, Free and Fearless. Other day, I had an opportunity to talk to some of my friends and family in a small gathering, and some questions were raised in the interest of the book, and I thought I will address some of those questions through this video. So basically, I think the questions were mostly focused on how does one kind of come to the terms with the fact that you kind of begin to practice certain methods without having the empirical evidence, if you will, right? So it is, I get that, and it is hard when you have been functioning in a world that usually works based on some kind of an evidence that you can verify. They say, I'd like to answer that through some introduction to some concepts, and then maybe we can clarify the questions that were asked. So they say, when going gets tough, tough gets going, right? That's a saying. But exactly when does the tough starts to get going, nobody knows, and so it cannot be defined, right? So more often when someone is in a tough spot, he or she will find himself, herself walking alone, right? Seldom would you find a helping hand when you are in crisis situation. And that makes it even harder for somebody to deal with life. So when you're alone and you are suffering, it is kind of life is kind of cruel, right? Every moment feels like an eternity, and it's very hard to get through those kind of things. And being in that phase of life, you don't attract anybody, right? You are basically, you repel everything that is around you, and that is why you kind of become more and more secluded. And it feels like there is no exit out of this kind of a condition. And it is like a vicious cycle that you get sucked into it deeper and deeper, and you find it very hard. So I think that is the kind of situation I'm trying to paint, not to necessarily say that world is essentially like really harsh, and I'm not trying to paint a grim picture for everyone out there, but I'm just considering a situation like that because that is also, it is real, right? We've seen that happen throughout the world, and some of us maybe we've been through that as well. So it's not hard to imagine or relate to such pain that one can go through in life. So I'd like to counter that by saying, even when you feel helpless and nobody's around, you are not really alone at all, because it is a question of perception. that we think we are alone, but otherwise, uh, you are always in the company of something that never leaves you. Meaning, if you make your perceptions uh, subtler and calibrate towards understanding or seeing through the gross physical realities, um, you will realize that all your physical experiences, right, they're happening uh, in your consciousness, right? So without which nothing really exists. Uh, and that consciousness is within you all the time. And you might wonder, how does that make any difference? Because you already know that, and you are aware of it already. Maybe, but what probably is happening is your mind is going through certain emotions, which are sometimes it's a kind of a wave cycle, right? Sometimes, like if you're really suffering, mostly you're always kind of sad, depressed, or but generally it is a cycle of pain and pleasure, right? So that is happening to the mind. That is true that you think that you are suffering. Of course, you feel that. But the point is, uh, mind is a kind of a logical entity, if you will. It is a product of, it's generally, like if you think about it, the term that is used for mind in ancient Vedantic philosophy is that it is the reflected consciousness, meaning it is not real, right? It is charged, uh, powered by the consciousness, which is just a witness. For example, you can imagine a large lake and you throw a stone, it creates a ripple. Those ripples can be thought of as your mind. If when the ripples subside and they settle, the lake remains unperturbed, right? And that is how, in your deep sleep, your mind is suspended, right? You are not aware of yourself, but you're obviously there. You're alive, like the lake without the ripples. Consciousness is always there. It is not the absence of awareness, but it is the absence of your mind. The awareness is ever present. There is nothing to reflect the consciousness when the mind is suspended in your deep sleep. So what I'm trying to get at is, when your mind is going through all this suffering, or with your physical body mind combination, right? Even then, your consciousness is unperturbed. It is there, and it is quiet, and it is kind of, you can imagine it as consciousness that is just a witness. It just participates as the power uh, that it supplies to you. It is self-luminous, so it always is aware, and it supplies power to your body and mind. So with that, what next is basically, if you now your perception has become subtler from looking at things at the physical level to a level higher, which is, or deeper, where now you are considering the possibility of the consciousness, which is obviously not a matter, right? The body mind, mind is a subtler matter, and body obviously is a gross reality, and they interact. That matter and consciousness, they come together to produce names and forms. These two are eternal forces. Matter can and will go through the transformation time to time, whereas the consciousness remains unaffected. It is unchanging, right? That is the unchanging reality, which is one of the eternal forces. In a broader classification between matter and the consciousness. Now, coming back to one who is going through difficult times, challenging times, and one who finds himself mostly on his own, the point was that he need not feel that way, because it is a kind of a play, if you will, by the mind, because of the sense perceptions and how the mind analyzes the information from the memory that it has acquired through various experiences. And it is powered by the consciousness. Although your relationship with the consciousness is eternal, it always exists, it is happening almost unconsciously, right? It is there, and it is providing all the support for your life to exist, and you continue. Once in a while you might reflect upon it, but it is probably not minute to minute, right? You are consciously not engaging what is really you within you. It is mostly on the surface. Whatever you see, whatever you touch, whatever you think, act, those are the ones that you're focused on. So if you calibrate your the thought process, basically train your mind to first of all accept that there is something within you which is providing you all that power, or all the charge, that all the energy that you need, right? That life force that you breathe in and out is powered by something else, which we generally call it as consciousness, right? It is like it is not a type. It is, nobody can describe this, right? You have heard like popular verses in Bhagavad Gita and also in Upanishads about the soul, the inner self. So many beautiful verses. So it is indescribable mostly. You cannot touch it, you cannot smell it, you cannot destroy it. It doesn't change. It is immutable, right? And it is unthinkable. But it proves its existence through the experiences. So if you are able to develop a cordial relationship with it, being fully aware of such a force within you, then eventually you can get to a stage where your own consciousness acts like a companion to you, a friend to you, right? That you can interact with, and you can exchange the various emotions with it, as you would do with another friend or a physical companion, right? So if the consciousness is fundamental to your mind-body composition, just like that, it is the fundamental substance to rest of the humans, right? Animals, plants, all living, moving creatures. So that means everything is basically derived from consciousness, and it can manifest in different forms, and we call them by different names. So if that is true for all moving creatures and species, how can we not extend that thought process or logic or idea to the fundamental cosmic elements, right? Your space, earth, water, fire, so air, right? So if they were, imagine, I'd like to imagine them as the expression of another conscious being, right? Like consciousness within you, when it is manifested or it expresses itself, it might look like you and me, right? Likewise, a great conscious being has expressed himself through these type of forms, which we kind of understand them as the fundamental elements, like I said earlier. And so my point is, those elements which are the building blocks of the universe are also rooted in that great consciousness. Great meaning, this consciousness seems to be common connecting force underneath everything that we see, right? So that means it permeates everything in the universe. It is ever present, and that is why I think in generally all of us know as this great being, and we refer to that as the God, right? In Sanskrit, in Upanishads, we refer to that as the Brahman, right? Which is the impersonal, the consciousness, Sat Chit Anand, or Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahmam, right? So these are the definition of impersonal Brahman. When the same impersonal Brahman manifests, I'm saying that it might look like this universe as the physical form and name. So the idea here is basically the consciousness with which I'm advocating to have the cordial relationship consciously being built, since it is omniscient, omnipresent, right? All capable, powerful, because everything happens within it, and it is all knowing, because that is, if without that there is nothing that you can know, right? All knowledge is revealed within the consciousness. So it has to be the super smart, something that is really smart and capable and powerful. So it is basically everything. So if your relationship with that is cordial, and meaning you're conscious about it and you're interacting with it, you're bound to have a good company, and you're also bound to bounce back from your situation, which could be very perturbing and painful for you right now, right? You are bound to get out of that, not by any other external, not saying you should not get the external help. Whenever you could get, I think obviously you should avail any help that is required. But sometimes all those type of official setups or family, friends, formal setups like hospitals, doctors, all of it should be availed, and they are there and they've been there, but it seems like it still is not able to cure it, or it won't address the issue forever, right? Because it is the same world, people are new, and your experiences are similar, but because somebody else is experiencing it, it becomes new, and it keeps going on forever like that. It is a cycle, it won't end. But if there is a way to counter that, it has to be within you, from inside of you, to stay away from suffering as much as you can, being aware of your true nature, which is the consciousness. And consciousness is, you cannot touch it, nothing, it remains, it is, although it is there, it cannot be contaminated by anything. It doesn't get so If you're able to consciously build a relationship with the consciousness within, then uh, you are bound to bounce back from your situation. But the biggest hurdle um, for everybody is that uh, having the faith in that idea, to start some practices to train your mind to start engaging the consciousness in full awareness. Because our mind, our intellect will ask for reasons, and it is suspicious of anything that it cannot verify. Like I said earlier, it looks for the numbers, empirical evidences, and stuff like that, which is not possible in this method, because it is a matter of the experience. The experience that you have within you cannot be measured, right? When you are happy, when you're satisfied, um, right? How do you, what is the um, instrument to measure that, right? There could be some brain activities that can be measured. It shows certain patterns for all those people in certain conditions. Maybe there is some way to kind of identify those, but it is still not 100% to say that this is what uh, it means to be happy, because it probably changes individual to individual. So having faith that it produces the desired result is the first big hurdle that you have to cross. Once you do that, I think things can be much more smoother. And the if you get on with that process and practice certain simple steps, this is what I have tried to kind of lay out there to simplify um, these steps that one can employ on a daily basis, which are so simple, uh, but their effects are profound. But because they are so simple, we all miss it, and we probably also doubt it. But otherwise, they can be practiced without much of a hassle. Uh, Once you do that, right? And in the book, this is one of uh, the goals of uh, one of the goals that I wanted to achieve, to simplify some simple methods for if somebody is interested. And the second aspect was to kind of try and reconcile the difference or different schools of thoughts, which I think that they all converge um, in the end toward the same goal, right? But uh, they use different words and terminologies to arrive at the same goal using different ways. So that is some really, I guess, ambitious uh, uh, effort. Uh, it's just a humble attempt to try and present my idea towards those topics. Uh, like the other thing is, like, if you everybody has doubts, so I'd like to say that if you practice, the only thing that it can produce is that it will generate gratitude in your heart, because you are doing something that is so fundamental to your existence, and it is all knowing. So knowing about that, you'll start introspecting, right? And it'll bring about certain changes. You'll adapt certain disciplines, right? All of this will play in bringing about really divine positive vibes within you. And that is why uh, you will realize and you will understand what is that you are trying to interact with, which knowing about it in a true sense will generate the gratitude, because you will understand that everything that is this is my understanding, everything that is happening is in some way is the courtesy of this divine consciousness which is present everywhere. You get to that point, and then obviously, automatically, your mind wholeheartedly kind of accepts this idea, what is your true nature, and then that is why that gratitude, that being thankfulness, right? Being thankful comes as your the result of this practice, which then starts to manifest everything else for you. Because in that process, right, you achieve a state of mind that remains unshaken even during most the stormy situations, if they are going across in your life, right? So if you can achieve that status or that state of mind, how does it matter, right? If whatever you have been practicing is in a way can be proven or disproved, it doesn't matter, right? You have achieved a state that you are calm, your responses are measured, and you have a balanced state of mind, right? And all your problems, once looked like big mountains, suddenly begin to appear so small that you don't it doesn't they won't bother you anymore, right? And that is where it will take you, and from there your further evolution begins, I guess. You meaning, in other words, you will get to follow your dreams basically at that point, right? Until then, maybe you have been dealing with problems, and because everybody has certain aspirations, and you want to follow those, but all these obstacles, whether those are illnesses, financial crisis, relationship problems, or you're depressed, many problems can they can shackle you around, right? And then you want to break out of those, and this can happen, right? And I believe this is my firm opinion that one has to kind of have that faith first of all, right? And then you get on with it. Like, don't be suspicious, ask questions, verify them. All those things are good, but don't get stuck over there. Don't be distracted by either other temptations or thoughts that will kind of deviate you away from what you were trying to achieve, right? Stay focused, because like, if anything, right, this, you are not doing anything that would harm you or somebody else, right? So if anything, this will only bring positive result, or else maybe nothing, right? This won't harm anyone or anything. So get on with it, I guess, right? And then see the result for yourself. That is what I would say towards the end of this video. And I hope this was worth your time, and you will find time in your schedule to kind of check this book out, right? And it has some, in my mind, some stories to kind of convey things that I wanted to say, that I hope are useful to people around the world, right? And especially for those who are on the fence and are not convinced to have faith in something, right? For various reasons, because you haven't had that experience, or you have not, you're yet to see the results, right? But I think that is where probably you should like stop thinking about or doubting about it, with all the rationality behind it, right? Have some faith and practice those, and you will see it. Probably you will experience it yourself, and then nobody else has to prove anything to you, or you don't have to prove anything to anybody. I hope this was worth your time, and the book. All right, so that was some talking. I hope it was not too long. So thank you for watching, and this is the book front cover, basically, if you're interested, and the back cover. So the book is titled as In the Company of Supreme Consciousness, Free and Fearless. It's available on Amazon throughout the world. Both Kindle and printed copies are available. I hope you will have interest in this, and would like to kind of get more details around the concept that I was just describing in the video. Thank you for watching again. I wish you all good luck. Have a wonderful rest of the day, evening, night. Thank you.